You are not waiting for life to change. You are shifting into the state where it already has. You are not hoping for abundance, love, or success. You are embodying it now. The secret is not in wanting, but in assuming. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you do not chase, you do not beg, you do not struggle, you simply are. Look around you, not with the eyes of limitation, but with the vision of fulfillment. You do not need to see it physically to know it is real. The unseen is more powerful than the seen, for all that exists in the visible world was once only imagined. The moment you claim it in consciousness, it is already yours. The world is only a reflection, a mirror that will rearrange itself according to your inner state. You must walk, speak, and think from the place of already having. If wealth is what you seek, carry yourself with the confidence of one who is already wealthy. If love is what you desire, move through the world as one who is already cherished and adored. You do not ask for what is already yours. You live in the knowing that it is done. The mind is the womb of creation, and every assumption hardens into fact. Doubt has no place in this reality. Fear is an illusion created by attachment to appearances. When you persist in the assumption of already having, circumstances lose their power over you. The outer world may show you the opposite of your desire, but you must remain unmoved, knowing that your assumption, when unwavering, must solidify into form. Every great change begins in silence, in the unseen realm of consciousness. You do not need permission from the world to become who you desire to be. You only need to give yourself permission to assume the state now. The world will follow. The key to transforming your reality is not in waiting for external conditions to change, but in assuming the feeling of already having what you desire. This is not about wishing, hoping, or pleading. It is about knowing, accepting, and embodying. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, you do not act as someone longing for a new reality. You move as if it is already yours. You do not chase after it. You dwell in it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually until the world catches up. Every manifestation begins in the unseen realm. What you desire already exists, but it is waiting for you to align with it. The moment you claim it within yourself, the process begins. Most people believe they must first see evidence before they can feel secure in their desire, but the truth is the opposite. You must first feel it before it becomes visible. The outer world is only a reflection of the inner state. It is like a mirror. It does not create your reality, it simply reflects what you assume to be true. When you hold an image in your mind and persist in the feeling of already possessing it, your subconscious mind accepts it as fact. It does not argue, it does not doubt. It simply follows the blueprint you impress upon it. This is why assumption is so powerful. The moment you assume a state and fully dwell in it, everything in your world begins to shift. People, events, and circumstances will unconsciously align to bring that assumption into form. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to let go of the idea that you are separate from your desire. There is no gap between you and what you want, except the one you create by thinking it is not yet yours. The feeling of already having it dissolves that separation. When you no longer see yourself as someone in lack, but instead as someone who already possesses what they seek, you move differently. Your words change, your actions align, and the energy you carry shifts. You stop looking for signs because you know the signs will come. You stop asking because you already have. Doubt and fear cannot exist when you are fully immersed in your new state. The mind may try to pull you back to the old reality, presenting reasons why your assumption cannot be true, but you must not waver. You must persist in the feeling, refusing to let appearances dictate your state. The world is simply showing you past assumptions playing out. If you remain unmoved by what seems to be, the new assumption will solidify into fact. Many people struggle with this because they are conditioned to react to the physical world instead of directing it. But the truth is, The world is always responding to you, not the other way around. When you assume a state, life organizes itself to match that assumption. If you assume you are loved, you will begin to attract love in many forms. If you assume success, opportunities will appear that align with that belief. But if you assume lack, struggle, rejection, the world will mirror those assumptions back to you. When you begin to live from the unseen, you no longer need physical proof to believe in your desire. You are not moved by what the world shows you, because you know that the world is delayed in its response. The seed of assumption must be planted and nurtured before it breaks through the soil. Just because you cannot yet see it does not mean it is not growing beneath the surface. The oak tree is already contained within the acorn, even before it emerges. In the same way, your desire is already complete in the unseen, even before it materializes. The mind conditioned by the physical world struggles with this concept. It wants immediate validation, tangible evidence before belief, but this is backward thinking. The law is simple: assume first and the world will follow. If you wait for the world to change before you believe, you will wait forever. But the moment you claim it internally, without needing proof, the process begins. You must persist in the unseen even when the world tells you otherwise. There will be moments when circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. You may feel doubt creeping in. But understand this: the outer world is slow to catch up to new assumptions, and the appearance of opposition is often just the final echo of old beliefs fading away. The wise do not react to appearances. They remain faithful to the unseen. They know that reality is not determined by what is visible, but by what is imagined with conviction. Think of those who have changed the world. The greatest inventors, leaders, and creators all saw something in their minds before anyone else could. They did not rely on the evidence of the present moment. They created a new future by believing in what was not yet seen. They acted from their vision, not from their circumstances. They understood that the unseen was the true reality, and they persisted until the world had no choice but to conform. This is the secret to all transformation. You are not separate from your desires. They exist within you now. The only question is whether you will assume them into being. When you embrace the unseen as more real than the seen, you move with certainty. You do not ask when will it come, because you already know it is here. You do not seek because you have found. You do not hope because you are. The world is only a reflection, and reflections take time to shift. But when you hold your assumption without wavering, the mirror must eventually reveal the new image. The unseen is not distant, it is immediate. It is not imaginary, it is the only true reality. The moment you realize this, you stop reacting and start creating. The moment you accept that the unseen holds everything you desire, you live from it. And when you live from it, the world must bow to your assumption. The power of feeling cannot be overstated. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the energy that transforms imagination into reality. Thought alone is not enough. It is the feeling behind the thought that gives it life. You may tell yourself 1,000 times that you are successful, but if the feeling within you contradicts that statement, the words are empty. It is not what you say, but what you feel to be true that shapes your world. The subconscious mind does not respond to mere affirmations. It responds to the emotions you embody. The feeling is the secret. Every moment you are radiating a feeling, whether consciously or unconsciously. That feeling is like a signal, broadcasting to the universe what you expect, what you believe, and what you assume to be real. If you want to change your life, you must change the signal you are sending out. The feeling must match the reality you wish to experience. You cannot feel lack and expect abundance, feel lonely and expect love, feel fearful and expect security. The external world is always a reflection of the dominant emotions you carry within. This is why assumption must be felt. If you assume success but feel doubt, the feeling of doubt will win. If you assume love but feel unworthy, the feeling of unworthiness will manifest. The subconscious mind is not tricked by words. It takes orders from the emotions behind them. The key is to generate within yourself the same feeling you would have if your desire were already fulfilled. You must dwell in the emotional state of the wish fulfilled, living in the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of already having. This is not daydreaming or fantasizing. It is a deliberate and sustained shift in your inner state. It is the art of mentally and emotionally placing yourself in the position of already being the person you wish to become. When you do this correctly, the feeling becomes so real that the outer world must respond. It has no choice but to mirror the internal reality you have established. This is the law. The challenge for many people is that they are used to reacting to what they see rather than generating the feeling from within. They look around at their current conditions and let those conditions dictate how they feel. But the law works in reverse. It is the feeling that comes first, and the conditions follow. This means you must learn to feel independent of circumstances. You must train yourself to hold the feeling of success even when the world tells you otherwise. You must hold the feeling of love even when you are alone. You must hold the feeling of abundance even when the bank account is empty. This is how reality shifts. There is no need to force feelings. The subconscious mind does not respond to strain or effort. The best way to generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled is through imagination. Close your eyes and enter a scene in which your desire is already a reality. Make it vivid. See the details, hear the sounds, touch the textures. But most importantly, feel. Feel the emotions of already having. Let the joy, the gratitude, the security flood your body. Let it become so real within you that when you open your eyes, the outer world feels like the dream. When you can do this consistently, the bridge of events will unfold naturally, leading you to your desire. Doubt may arise, but it has no power unless you give it attention. The mistake many people make is that they feel the wish fulfilled for a moment and then immediately check the physical world for confirmation. When they do not see immediate change, they return to their old feelings of doubt and lack. But this interrupts the process. The outer world takes time to rearrange itself according to your new assumption. Your job is to remain faithful to the feeling, regardless of appearances. The longer you sustain the feeling, the faster the world must align. Imagine a person who has received the best news of their life. Maybe they have won a great prize, secured their dream job, or found the love they have always desired. Their body is light, their energy is high, their movements are relaxed. They are not waiting for something to happen. They are basking in the joy of it already being done. This is the feeling you must cultivate even before the evidence appears. The world must conform. It is law. Many believe they must work hard, struggle, or fight for what they want. But creation is effortless when you master the art of feeling. The person who truly feels the wish fulfilled does not need to chase or beg. Their inner state attracts the outer conditions naturally. The opportunities, people, and circumstances that match their new feeling will be drawn to them without force. It may seem like coincidence or luck to others, but it is simply the law of assumption. To sustain the feeling, make it a practice. Every morning, before the world impresses itself upon you, enter the feeling of already having. Throughout the day, return to it often. Before sleep, let your last thoughts and emotions be those of fulfillment. The more you make this a habit, the more natural it becomes. Soon, the feeling of already having will be second nature, and the world will be compelled to reflect it back to you. Feeling is the creative force. It is the key that unlocks the unseen into the seen. The moment you accept this, the moment you begin to live from the feeling of already having, is the moment your world changes. The process is not one of effort, but of surrender. Surrendering to the reality that your desire is already yours. Imagination is the most powerful tool you possess, yet most people use it unconsciously. It shapes every experience, every encounter, every moment of your life. What you imagine with feeling is what materializes in your world. It is not something outside of you, nor is it a passive activity. It is the force that molds reality itself. If you wish to transform your life, you must first transform what you imagine. You must take control of the images you create in your mind, for they are the seeds of your future. The greatest mistake people make is using their imagination to reinforce their present circumstances rather than to create something new. They look at what is, and they allow their minds to replay the same scenes, the same struggles, the same limitations. They imagine worst-case scenarios, they relive past disappointments, they anticipate failure, and because they do so with emotion, they unknowingly bring these experiences into being. The world mirrors back to them what they have impressed upon the subconscious mind. Imagination, when directed deliberately, is the key to freedom. It is the means by which you step out of the limitations of the physical world and into the infinite possibilities of creation. When you close your eyes and visualize, you are not merely entertaining fantasies. You are forming the blueprint of your future. What you vividly imagine and feel to be real must externalize itself. This is an unbreakable law. To act as if you already have everything, you must imagine scenes that imply your wish is fulfilled. You must enter the state of having, not wanting. Wanting keeps you in a state of lack. Having places you in the vibration of possession. Instead of yearning for wealth, imagine yourself already abundant. Instead of hoping for love, imagine yourself already cherished. Instead of waiting for success, imagine yourself already accomplished. The mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined when you feel it deeply enough. The key is to make it as vivid as possible. When you construct a scene, do not watch it as an observer. Step into it. Feel it as though it is happening right now. Engage all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What textures are around you? The more real you make it, the more powerfully it imprints upon your subconscious. And once the subconscious mind accepts it as truth, the external world must conform. There is no need to struggle or force anything to happen. The moment you impress an idea upon the subconscious, events begin to arrange themselves in ways beyond your logical understanding. People, opportunities, and circumstances will shift as though by magic. But it is simply the natural outflow of what you have assumed to be real. One of the greatest tools for harnessing imagination is the practice of mental rehearsal. Every night before sleep, enter the state of your fulfilled desire. Close your eyes and construct a short scene that implies your wish is already a fact. If you desire success, imagine receiving congratulations from a trusted friend. If you desire love, imagine the embrace of your partner. If you desire health, imagine yourself moving with ease and joy. Repeat this scene over and over, allowing the feeling to deepen with each repetition. As you do this night after night, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious begins to accept it as reality, your emotional state shifts, your actions change, and without effort you start moving in harmony with the assumption of already having. The world adjusts itself accordingly. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. Many doubt this process because they expect immediate changes. But the outer world is simply a reflection of what has been consistently imagined. If you have spent years imagining lack, fear, and limitation, it may take time to shift the momentum, but persistence is the secret. You must not waver in your assumption. If an undesirable thought arises, do not fight it. Replace it. Bring yourself back to the state of the wish fulfilled. The reason most people fail to manifest their desires is because they allow the physical world to dictate what they imagine. They look at their current circumstances and allow them to determine how they feel and what they believe is possible. But imagination must come first. You must discipline yourself to imagine in spite of appearances. The world will not change until you change what you impress upon your subconscious. When you fully embrace this truth, you realize that you are never at the mercy of circumstances. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. Every thought, every image, every feeling is forming the world around you. If you wish to transform your reality, transform your imagination first. Let go of the past. Stop reliving what was. Begin to imagine what can be. The mind is like a garden. If left unattended, weeds of doubt and fear will grow. But if cultivated with intention, it will produce the fruits of your desires. Every day, water the seeds of your ideal life. Spend time in the feeling of already having. Saturate your subconscious with images of fulfillment. Train yourself to dwell in the reality you wish to experience. Do not be discouraged if changes do not appear instantly. Trust in the unseen. Just as a planted seed does not sprout overnight, your assumptions take time to materialize. But if you remain faithful to the feeling of having, rather than needing, the harvest is inevitable. There is no limit to what you can create. The only limit is the one imposed by your imagination. If you can see it in your mind, if you can feel it as real, it must come to pass. Imagination is the gateway to all that you desire. Use it wisely. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the unwavering commitment to the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, regardless of what the outer world shows you. Most people approach manifestation with excitement in the beginning, but when they do not see immediate results, they begin to doubt. Doubt weakens the assumption, causing delays or even preventing the manifestation altogether. To truly master the art of creation, you must persist until what you have assumed hardens into fact. This is the key to transforming your life. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only accepts what is repeatedly impressed upon it. If you persist in an assumption long enough, it becomes a belief, and beliefs shape reality. Every condition in your life right now is the result of past assumptions that have solidified. If you want to change your life, you must remain steadfast in your new assumption, even when the external world contradicts it. Most people fail to manifest their desires because they allow external circumstances to dictate their inner state. If they do not see immediate results, they assume their manifestation is not working, and in doing so, they reinforce the old reality. But manifestation is not about reacting to what is. It is about remaining loyal to the unseen until it becomes seen. The moment you waver, you are planting seeds of doubt, which counteract the seeds of faith you had previously sown. Think of a seed planted in the ground. When you plant it, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that beneath the soil it is taking root and will eventually sprout. The same principle applies to manifestation. Once you assume your desire is fulfilled, you must persist in that belief without constantly looking for evidence. The evidence will appear in time, but only if you remain faithful to the assumption. Many people mistake persistence for effort. They think persistence means constantly thinking about their desire or trying to force results. But true persistence is not about mental strain. It is about sustaining a state of knowing. It is the quiet conviction that what you desire is already yours. It is the refusal to entertain opposing thoughts. When doubt arises, persistence means gently bringing yourself back to the state of the wish fulfilled. The world around you may initially reflect your past assumptions, and this is where most people give up. They see the same struggles, the same limitations, the same disappointments, and they assume nothing is changing. But the outer world is merely a reflection of past assumptions. It takes time for new assumptions to replace old ones. The key is to not be discouraged by what you see. Ignore it. Do not react. Stay committed to the reality you have created within, and the outer world will have no choice but to conform. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation comes from someone who refused to give up. Look at any success story and you will see persistence at its core. Those who achieve their desires are not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who refuse to accept failure as an option. They continue to assume success, even when everything around them suggested otherwise. One of the most powerful ways to persist in an assumption is through repetition. The subconscious mind learns through repetition. just as a habit is formed through repeated action. If you continuously return to the feeling of already having your desire, it will become second nature. You will no longer have to force yourself to believe. It will become automatic. Mental discipline is essential. Most people allow their thoughts to drift aimlessly, responding to whatever circumstances arise. But to persist in an assumption, you must take control of your inner dialogue. Do not allow doubts, fears, or negative thoughts to take root. If they arise, simply replace them with thoughts that align with your desired state. Speak to yourself as though your wish is already a reality. Another powerful tool for persistence is visualization. Every night before sleep, replay a scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Enter the scene with all your senses engaged. Feel it as though it is happening now. Let the scene become more vivid and real with each repetition. Over time, the subconscious mind will accept it as fact, and reality will shift accordingly. It is important to remember that persistence does not mean forcing things to happen. You are not trying to manipulate circumstances. You are simply maintaining a state of inner knowing. The physical world will rearrange itself in ways you cannot predict. The how is not your concern. Your only task is to remain faithful to the assumption. Doubt is the enemy of persistence. It is natural for doubts to arise, but you do not have to entertain them. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself that the outer world is only a reflection of the past. If you remain steadfast, the past will fade and a new reality will take its place. Speak words of faith. Affirm your assumption. Strengthen your belief. Many people mistakenly think that persistence means waiting. But true persistence is not passive. It is an active state of believing. You do not wait for your desire to appear. You live as though it is already here. You think, feel, and act from the state of already having. You carry yourself with the confidence of one who knows their desire is inevitable. This is how reality shifts. It does not change through struggle or effort. It changes through assumption. When you persist in an assumption, it will harden into fact. It is only a matter of time. If you refuse to accept anything less than your ideal must become real. Your life is a reflection of what you have persistently assumed to be true. If you wish to change any aspect of it, begin now by assuming the reality you desire. Stay with that assumption no matter what. Persist through doubts, through delays, through appearances. Let nothing shake your conviction. The moment you decide that what you have assumed is already yours, reality has no choice but to conform. Stay loyal to your vision. Hold fast to your belief. And soon, what was once only imagined will become your undeniable truth. Reality is not fixed. It is a fluid, ever-changing reflection of your inner state. The mistake most people make is believing that what they see around them is absolute and unchangeable. They look at their current circumstances and assume that their past experiences, their limitations, and their struggles are set in stone. But reality is nothing more than a projection of past assumptions. And if you continue to react to it as if it is the ultimate truth, you will remain trapped in the same cycle. To truly manifest the life you desire, you must learn to ignore the present reality and trust the unseen. Ignoring present reality does not mean denying that it exists. It means refusing to give it power over your internal state. It means understanding that what you are experiencing now is simply the result of old beliefs and assumptions. If you wish to change your life, you cannot let the current circumstances dictate what you believe is possible. You must shift your attention away from what is and focus entirely on what is becoming. Most people struggle with manifestation because they allow their senses to control them. They see a lack of money and they feel poor. They see loneliness and they feel unloved. They see failure and they feel hopeless. But manifestation works in reverse. What you feel and assume within eventually shapes what you experience without. If you want to see wealth, love, and success, you must assume those things exist for you even when there is no physical proof. This is where faith in the unseen comes in. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is not hoping that something will happen someday. Faith is the absolute conviction that what you have assumed is already yours, even if there is no evidence in sight. It is walking through life as though your desire has already materialized, knowing that reality has no choice but to conform. The more you believe in what is unseen, the more the world around you shifts to reflect your assumption. When you look at the present moment and react to it emotionally, you are reinforcing it. If you see yourself struggling and allow feelings of frustration, doubt, or fear to take over, you are feeding that struggle with your energy, keeping it alive. But if you can look at the same situation and remain unmoved, if you can persist in the assumption that your desire is already yours despite the current appearance, then reality must eventually change to match your new state of being. The unseen is far more powerful than the seen. Everything that has ever existed began as an idea, an assumption, an invisible reality before it became tangible. Every invention, every success story, every transformation first existed in the mind of someone who dared to believe in it before it materialized. The same principle applies to your own life. If you want something to exist in your world, you must first create it within and trust that it is already set in motion. This trust in the unseen requires mental discipline. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing only what your senses show you, but reality is deceptive. What seems solid and unchangeable is actually in constant motion, shaped by your consciousness. The moment you stop giving attention to the undesired and fully invest your belief in your assumption, you begin the process of transformation. Many people fear that if they ignore their current reality, they are being irresponsible. They worry that if they do not acknowledge their financial struggles, relationship problems, or failures, they will never change. But the opposite is true. By focusing on the problem, you are holding it in place. By shifting your focus to the unseen reality you prefer, you are giving it life. The most responsible thing you can do is assume the best and persist in that assumption until it becomes fact. Detachment is key. You must detach from the need for immediate evidence. The moment you demand proof, you are expressing doubt. Faith does not require proof, it creates proof. You must be willing to live in the knowing that what you desire is already unfolding, even when nothing around you seems to confirm it. When you develop this level of certainty, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself in your favor. A powerful technique for ignoring the present reality is mental revision. If something in your world contradicts your desire, do not accept it as final. Instead, mentally rewrite the scene to align with what you prefer. If you receive bad news, imagine that you received good news instead. If you experience rejection, assume that you were accepted. By revising undesirable events in your mind, you prevent them from taking deep root in your subconscious, allowing your desired reality to take precedence. Another technique is living from the end. Instead of wishing for your desire, step into the feeling of already having it. If you desire wealth, do not focus on the lack of money, focus on the feeling of financial security. If you desire love, do not focus on loneliness. Embody the feeling of being deeply loved and cherished. Whatever you focus on expands, so place your attention on the reality you want to experience rather than the one you wish to escape. Doubt is the greatest enemy of faith. The moment you begin to question whether your manifestation is working, you are stepping out of the state of having and into the state of lack. Do not entertain thoughts of, what if it doesn't happen? Assume it is happening. Your only job is to remain in the state of fulfillment, regardless of what the outside world is showing you. Manifestation does not happen through force or effort. It happens through alignment. When your inner state is fully aligned with your assumptions, there is nothing left to do but trust. The physical world will shift naturally, often in ways you could never have predicted. Unexpected events, opportunities, and synchronicities will appear. People will show up, circumstances will change, and everything will fall into place because reality must reflect what you persistently assume to be true. Patience is necessary. Just as the seed takes time to grow, so does your assumption. If you plant a seed and dig it up every day to check if it is growing, you will kill it before it has a chance to sprout. The same applies to your manifestation. You must trust that the unseen is at work and allow it to unfold in its own time. The moment you let go of the need to control the process, you open the door for miracles. Your ability to ignore the present reality and trust in the unseen determines the speed and success of your manifestation. The more you react to what is, the more you prolong the cycle of what has been. But the more you discipline your mind to see beyond appearances, the more you step into your power as the creator of your reality.